Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Aisha Al-Hajar of Amani Birth, and I'm here today with my dear friend and sister, Minaz Nouri, and we're talking about how Amani changed my life. So how are you today, Minaz?
First and foremost, Walaikum Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I just want to
Alhamdulillah,
ask you, how are you today?
I'm fine, Alhamdulillah. Can you hear me?
I
Yeah?
can hear you. You're a little off center on your camera. Can you center yourself just a little better? Yeah, it's backward, so it feels awkward. Yeah. So let me just ask you. I'll get into the interview question. So I'll just ask you, what was it that introduced you to Amani Birth? How did you find out about Amani Birth?
If I talk about what got me into Amani Birth was one of your Amani affiliates, Samreen Wasik, who stays in UAE, and she had held a meeting at her place. Basically, I was not there for Amani meeting, but I was there for some other meeting, and I bumped you there, Alhamdulillah. And
Oh,
at
so
that time, I was
you met me at like a Let's Meet Aisha meeting. Gotcha.
yeah, yeah. It was not a Mani birth meeting because there were two meetings on the same day.
Gotcha.
So I just hanged on for a while. I finished with the first meeting, and then it was you when I met there, and I was pregnant with my third baby at that time.
Mashallah.
So it was such a life. It was so, like, I would say, Allah
Just
made us meet.
because
Yeah.
the meeting was life changing.
Of course, the meeting was life changing because from there it actually hit me like it is so important, because the first meeting which I attended was not really important. The second one actually made me think on many things, and I took a step on, to look after my pregnancy, birth, and all of
Mashallah.
those things.
That's amazing. All right. So what's your status with Amani now? How are you related to Amani Birth now? Of
Okay.
course, I know
Right.
the audience.
Yeah. Right now, I'm advanced Amani childbirth educator and an advanced doula too. I'm actively participating since 2017, and I have been, if I say, I have attended total number of 24 births till now.
Mashallah.
Um, and I have been educating like many women, so I don't have a count of how many women I have formally educated. Maybe more than 50 plus women I have educated, which have gone with the money program. So I run batches, and I have alhamdulillah completed five batch till now.
Mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. So you've been pretty active in your community for sure.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mashallah. Okay, well that's great. So you met me at a meeting, you were pregnant with your third, and then now you're an Amani advanced. You're not just an Amani childbirth educator and doula, you're an Amani advanced childbirth educator and doula. And you're one of the ones that are actually out there doing the work in the community, which is beautiful. Some people take the training and then they don't do much with it. And some people take the training and they really dive in head first, and that's you. You've really dove in head first, and we're really, really pleased with how many moms you're reaching in your community and the changes you're making in their lives, one mother at a time, is just really, really huge. So let's see, what's the next thing? So you went to that meeting by chance. You weren't supposed to be there. So we plan and Allah plans better. What happened at that meeting that or after that really influenced you to be engaged with Amani Birth? Like you could have come to that meeting, said Salaam Alaikum and left with no effect. What was it that actually made you engage?
Okay. First and foremost, I don't know who was Aisha Al Hajar. So I met you as the common sisters who were present there. I never knew you were a midwife. You were doing Amani as a program. So I just hanged on there for a while, and I was listening to you. And when after listening to you, so many things actually clicked me. What made me to do Amani, pursue Amani for myself first? I didn't even plan to be an educator some down line. I just took the Amani as a student from Samreen Wasik because I was pregnant, and the thing which made me to do this course was, let me tell you, I have four babies, mashallah, right now, and my first baby was born via C-section here in UAE.
Okay.
Which was a very turning point for me, and I had a lot of postpartum depression, a lot of complications later on. even pre and post my pregnancy. I never took an opportunity or I took a chance to educate myself on same thing. Never, I religiously followed doctor, and I was just going, dot to dot what my OB-GYN mentioned to me. And um, and I would say I had a unfortunate C-section, which now today when I realize it was not needed at that time. If I would
Right.
have been educated, I'm 100% sure that could have been eliminated on that time. So this was with my baby number one. Baby number two, I luckily had VBAC, but I was not aware about Amani at that time.
Okay.
So it was by chance again. I wanted VBAC. I didn't even know about the term that is VBAC called unless and until I did Amani course. I just knew that okay, first baby I had a C-section, so second I should go with normal birth, and I achieved normal birth, which was fair enough. But I never knew there's a difference between normal and natural birth, which most of the women don't know. They think with being birthing vaginally itself is a natural birth. No, there are a lot of intervention which can go with the normal birth also, vaginal birth also, which could leave a mother traumatized. And
Right.
with baby number three, I really explored on the options of Amani. What is Amani? How does it work? And I was a little skeptical about it. Whether is this really gonna work? It looks like a fairy tale. The book is okay, all natural and all nice, and you know, uh, is it really gonna work? I was skeptical whether the guy next year would give me that thing. But yes, I would say when I educated myself, I was about to speak up for myself. I demanded for that. And that's how, when I demanded, the OB-GYN gave me. So
Got you.
most of the women, they don't know how to ask for it. So, and the reason they don't know how to ask for it because they don't know that these options are available. And this could be only done once if one is educated on this ground.
Right.
So, so
That's
that's what.
so that was with your third baby that you took it, or the fourth baby?
Yes,
Okay,
third
so with
baby.
your third baby, you took a class as a mother from one of our
Yes,
teachers, Samreen Wasik. We love Samreen. Samreen, we love you. So you took it as a mother, and you were skeptical until you did it.
yes, of
Okay.
course.
So now you
It was
know.
completely.
Now you know there's a difference between obviously C-section and normal vaginal. And now you realize a bigger divide between normal interventive vaginal and truly natural, where you have control and choices, and education to have intelligent conversations with your care provider so that you can express what you want, right? So what
Exactly,
happened?
exactly.
So you're still at that point not an Amani teacher, you're not an Amani doula. How did that
No.
change take place?
Okay. When I was successful with my baby number three as a natural birth without intervention,
Right.
I felt wow, this is amazing, and how our bodies are designed to do this thing. And I felt in our community, like the Asian community where I hail from, women are not educated. They don't even think that this is really important to educate themselves about and prepare themselves. So I really took an initiative that no, this work needs to be reached out to many people in my community, and to
Okay.
those people who are, especially the housewife, who are financially dependent on their husbands, and since we are staying in this part of the world, many of the things follows the insurance policies.
Right.
So they are hooked onto it. They can't change the care providers very often, as like even if they want to. But the only thing they can change, if they're educated, they can change the way the management by themselves for a while, which could eventually help them to sustain or get the best birth, I would rather say. So
So
that made me.
let me ask you something. So you're saying that the people in your community, they really didn't know that they have a choice. Why was it important for you that they know? Why does it matter? Talk about that. Why does it matter that we have a choice, or that we make a choice, or that what's wrong with normal vaginal birth versus natural birth? Why did you care?
That the one thing is, I see the children. Okay, if we compare the children from our generation and the current generation, you could see a huge difference in their health issues, I could say. So many of the babies are not, because the mom had an intervention birth. uh, the very first start of the life, it's not gentle. The second thing, the babies are very easily let off the breast. The moms are not ready to, even if they're ready, they won't sustain it for long time period for breastfeeding. There
Okay.
the artificial feeds are coming in. Further, they are not connected with their babies. They are not empowered. They And nobody speaks about it. It's just okay, we give birth, or we I would say the term they used, it's not even birth, it says we delivered baby. And which is, I
Right.
would not, yeah, I would not go for it, because as we say, it has to be respected. The woman gives birth. So it was much needed to make them aware that the whole birthing procedure has to be gentle. On the same hand, this birthing procedure would help the way the babies are, they are growing up in their lives, the way the mother are, nurturing them. So everything has been connected to it.
So you're saying, so what I'm hearing you say is that how we are born has an effect on who we are as people, and therefore an effect on our whole
Right,
community.
right.
Wow, that's huge. And how were you received in your community? What did people think when, crazy Manaz comes talking about childbirth? What do they think? I say crazy Manaz because
um,
that's what I hear all the time about myself, right? Crazy Aisha.
yeah. At the beginning, when I started this to do, like, people were not interested, women were not interested, and even if they were interested, the men's were not interested. They will not allow their women to go and take these kind of crosses. I faced a lot of rejection. I faced a lot of you know I won't say bad words, but yes, I felt a lot of things. There were a lot of loopholes where they need to get more, to understand what exactly it is. So because as mashallah, you are a midwife, and you know that midwifery model is no more available. So people are
Right.
not seeing midwifery births. So they are not aware that this has to happen. The shift has been moved completely to the OB-GYN. They are trained surgeons. Of course, we need them, but
Right.
when there is a true complication at that time, so there is a huge mental shift which has occurred. And people don't realize that midwives are the people who actually give the gentle birth. And I won't say completely no to OB-GYN, but yes, we do need them. But they are trained surgeons, so there is a thin line which needs to be identified. And so yeah, so I would say nothing.
Okay. All right, great. So at the end of the day, is there what would you want to tell moms today, like in your community or in any community? Like what's your like takeaway message, do you think?
Um, for the takeaway message, I would say every woman should know about their body. They should study about the birth physiology. Every woman, irrespective whether they're educated, they're uneducated, what is their status, they should, even if they are from a medical field, I would still mention that they has to learn how to deal with the body while giving birth. And especially if there are no complication of the woman is low risk with her pregnancy, she should go for gentle birth, active birth, educate herself. And of course, one of the best program which I have come across, I have not only been with Amani, but yes, I have done a lot of small workshops with other midwives. But what I find with Amani is it's as a Muslim community, I find this is the only sole program which provides childbirth education related to Islam. It has a high connectivity to the Islam. So I would say every household should have at least a money guidebook to study. And if they have an opportunity, they should take classes, childbirth education classes, or and further, if more, can advance for doula or childbirth education as a mentor or a affiliate. I would rather say that's my message.
Thank you so much. So you think all families should at least read the Amani
Yes,
birth book?
read the Amani birth book. I
Okay.
would say,
And
I
then
would
take
highly
classes.
say men should also, not only women, men should, the husband should too, in the house.
Right. And we do now have a father's version of the book. A lot of people don't know that. It's called the Quick Guide for Fathers, Amani Birth Quick Guide for Fathers. And I think when I wrote that book, I was thinking, the Amani Birth book is 30 chapters, and moms want to dive in. And when you start reading it, I think, and you can tell me if you believe this, I feel that once you start reading it, it's like an awakening. Like you realize, oh wow, like there's stuff I should know, and it's related not only to me and my baby and my childbirth, but it's related to your deen. It makes you realize why this is important for you as a Muslim woman in particular. And then it's hard to get the fathers to take a look at a 30-page chapter book, So I wrote, and it just came out recently, so we haven't even sold very many copies because we haven't really publicized it. We came out with a quick guide for fathers. And the quick guide for fathers, rather than being 30 chapters, there's one page for the dad for each page of the mother. So she reads chapter 1, he reads page 1. So he has just one page to read. There's lots of colorful pictures in it, to make it a little less, stressful to read. So you're not just looking at words. And there's bonus topics like episiotomy, which is a hot topic in a lot of the communities where women are having their vagina cut at every birth. And it talks about why that's not an evidence-based practice and why most women don't need it and how the dad can be involved in helping her to avoid it. So I think it's really important that you bring up the dad. And, I find it interesting. You were saying, every woman should have the Imani book. And I agree with you. It should be in every woman's house. Like it should be a wedding gift to every woman. And she should read it before she gets pregnant. And, when she gets pregnant, get the dad on board, have him read the father's book. I think that would be a much better gift than any, people will give a gift card of like $20 to Mother Care. Buy an Imani book, give her something of meaning that can really change her life. And like you said, it makes a difference between an oppressed woman and an empowered woman. Would you agree?
Right. True.
I mean, how you go through birth affects you for the rest of your life. SubhanAllah. And that's the part that people don't recognize that. They really do not recognize that. How a woman gets birth is going to affect her and the baby. You don't notice it in the baby so much because the baby never had a chance to be anything else. But the woman can be negatively or positively affected for the rest of her life. I mean, we're talking about something really big here. And most women just don't know. And most families, bless their hearts, just sending them to the doctor thinking that's the best thing to do, which is fine. You need care during pregnancy, but if you go to the wrong one, if you go to one that's not super supportive, or if you just go in and just kind of accept everything, you become the oppressed one because someone is doing something to you. Someone is making decisions for you. And it's not that doctors are bad. It's just if you don't know what you want, I have to make decisions for you as a doctor. The soon as someone takes away your decision making, and it's not because they're taking it away, it's because you don't know that you even have it. So you go there like, tell me what to do. Okay, I'll tell you what to do. And then you fall into this rut of someone else always telling you what to do. It's a big, huge difference, and moms don't get it. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. It's really, really
on
good.
this, I would like to share my recent birth experience with one of the sisters, if you allow me to do that. When you talk about that women don't know, unless and until they know what to do, they are empowered. So here, if I say the recent birth, okay, is just, I would say, not even a month before, maybe 20, 25 days before, a mom who have been trained to Amani, she was my student. She already had two children before, two babies before, and this is a third pregnancy. And when she learned she had normal vaginal birth with her previous two. And when she learned about these things, so the things were a little bit different for taking a decision. Let me tell you, when I was her doula too, apart from mentor. So when I was with her in the labor room, the doctor didn't turn up. So she was late. Okay. Maybe we were late to reach hospital, so we didn't give time for the doctor to reach, I would rather say. And mashallah, this woman was, you could say, fully dilated when she reached. And in her previous two births, she always went early to the hospital thinking, no, we have to reach on time. But this time the game was different. She reached to the hospital when she was completely dilated, and mashallah, and the nurses and the on-duty doctor is trying to connect to her doctor to get in as early as possible. But unfortunately, or we could say Qadar Allah, she didn't reach. And then the lady who was ready to push the baby out, she said, I said, start pushing. If you want to push, you can start pushing. And then she said, how do I push? I said, just squat, which I've been teaching you in class. And she sat on the bed, she squatted, and she pushed the baby out beautifully. And on top of it, when the baby was just right. She could see next to her, okay, between her legs. I said, just lift your baby. And she's just staring at me. Really? Can I lift my baby myself? I said, yes, you can. It's
SubhanAllah.
your baby. And like she was like literally, it was like goosebump for her that I'm lifting my baby. And then she mentioned to me, other two births, they clean my baby, they nicely wrap my baby, and then they gave me. This is just a fraction of minute born, and I'm taking in my arms, and it was a beautiful bird. So this is
SubhanAllah.
how, I could say the difference between, when you are educated and when you don't know about the,
Isn't that
the,
interesting that she asked you, can I pick up my own baby?
yes,
Can
yes,
I
and
touch
I,
my own baby? Like that just isn't that just like mind blowing? Like we have conditioned women to the point that they think they cannot pick up their own just born baby.
right,
Like I have to wait for a nurse to pick up the baby and a doctor to pick it up, hand it to a nurse for it to be taken away, to it to be bathed and wrapped and brought back to me like a pretty little package.
true.
And we think that there's, like we don't have a right to be the first one to put our hands on our child. That's
Right.
huge, Minez. SubhanAllah.
So
How's that
when
baby doing now?
Mashallah, both mom and baby are fine. The recovery is superb. She mentioned to me, I'm feeling much more better and empowered before. Like this was completely different birth for her. She went
SubhanAllah.
late. She managed her pain at home as much as she could. So it was good. And then you see the whole natural birth, no episiotomy, no drugs, no intervention at all. And I would say it was beautiful. So she is very, like when she mentioned to me, she wrote her birth story, and it was beautiful to read about her birth story.
SubhanAllah. So that just give me chills to think about how big of an effect that has on that mom and that baby from that day
True.
forward. I'm sure she's praying for you and she's going to take you all the way to her grave in her du'as. As women, and this is something I think that the men don't understand. As women, we will never forget what happened on the day our child was born. In fact, yesterday was my son's 25th birthday, my oldest son. I can tell you the details of that birth, and I have 7 more children besides him. He's the first of 8. I can tell you the details of his birth and all 7 of his siblings. And I'm sure that unless I, God forbid, become senile, I'm sure I can take those births to my grave. I know what people said to me. I know how they made me feel. I know at the end of the day, like step by step, what happened in every single one of those births. And it affects me as a woman forever. And that's the part that like we're missing as a community. And when we overrun a woman's birth, we're taking away her opportunity. I think it's a rite of passage to experience her birth in an empowering way. We think we're helping, but we're actually hindering her ability to grow.
Right.
Would you agree?
To on to the same bird, I would add, when you talk about men, this her husband was not prepared to be in the labor room.
Okay.
That's the reason that they hired me as a doula.
Okay.
So, but because the doctor didn't reach on time, so he was on and off in the labor room when she was giving birth. And the baby, let me tell you, when the baby was crowning, or the baby was coming, the baby was intact in the membrane. So
Okay.
so
Mashallah.
yeah, so
So the
the
water
first,
had a good, yeah.
and he witnessed that, he could see that, because I was like on sideways, and the husband was just standing in
In the
front
right
of a
spot. Right.
prism, I would
Right.
say. So he could see that. And then I asked her after, when she went home, and asked, what was your husband's comment and how did he feel? So he said the baby was in the water, in the sac.
Right.
That's how he described. And he said the birth was like a flower. I don't know how he connected to the flower, but he
Mashallah.
said it's like a flower.
Mashallah. So yeah, you're buzzing over there. Yeah. So was the father positively impacted by the birth as well? I mean, do you have any idea, like what's his takeaway?
I didn't get chance to speak to the husband yet, but I'm
Okay.
sure it would be positive, and it was beautiful, I would say.
Mashallah. Yeah. Mashallah. Awesome. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to say to you, you would agree that Amani birth and taking this education and being involved is a life-changing journey, right?
Right, right.
So it says at the top
It
of the
does.
screen, Amani changed my life. And I think,
Right.
Minez, that it has changed your life. And you've really gone on and used the platform to do good in your community. And you're changing lives every day with Amani Birth. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. how proud we are of you at Amani Birth. We are blessed and honored to have you as part of our family and our community. And Amani Birth truly is a family and a community. I think, all of us that are connected through Amani Birth, we are sisters and brothers. We have male Amani childbirth educators too. I should have one of those on pretty soon. But at the end of the day, like having you in the family with such passion and who's experienced it for yourself and can use that passion to drive change in your community. We're truly blessed to have you, Minez. Thank you so much, for being part of the Amani family.
To be part of the family, blessed to be part of the Amani family. It is one of my biggest, you could say, successful step towards life. I would say I never aimed for. I never think that I would be doing these kind of work, especially with birth. When I was in
what was your education or your job before?
It's very weird. I'm a teacher by profession, and it's my field. The subjects which I teach is accounting and economics, which is nowhere related to science and birth.
There you go. So it's teacher of mathematical subjects to the birth guru in your community who's changing lives. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Now that didn't change your life. That's not a testimony to a changed life. I don't know what is.
When I tell my colleagues, they still think I'm okay with my accounting, and I'm taking teaching children of this subjects, and I said no, I changed my stream, and said, what do you do? I said I do births.
I do birth. That's beautiful. Mashallah, mashallah. Thank you so much, Minez. You have a great rest of your day. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.